Okay, thanks everyone for coming on this warm, sunny afternoon in Newcastle. The weather doesn't seem to know what it's doing at the moment.
Yeah.
It's a heat wave. Last weekend it was 35 degrees in London for the Rath Yatra. Today is the actual day of the Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri. I think Nitai Kirtan posted a link to it earlier. It's probably pretty hot in Jagannath Puri as well. So we're going to begin with Caitanya Vallabha. The lyrics are on the screen, expertly done by Shruti over there on the tablet, with her colourful socks on. And then we'll chant Hare Krishna a little bit, and then we're going to read a little from the Bhagavad Gita. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Punjabi Hare, Jaya Rathayatra Mahamahotsav ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki, Nitai Gaur Pranamya. Thanks, Shruti. So, we have a verse up on the screen here, but also, if you prefer, I think Ekka's just going to hand around some Bhagavad Gitas now. So we'll just recite the invocation to invoke auspiciousness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So we're reading today from the Grand Taraj, Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Text 31, chapter 4. In this book it's page 259. Or else, as we say, is on the screen. This is actually the shortest verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so we'll do it responsibly. Nayam. Sounds like everyone's gone to sleep. It's Sunday afternoon, let's try that again. Nayam. Much better. Loko. Stayagyasya. Nayam lokosjayagyasya. Nayam lokosjayagyasya. Kuto. Nya. Kurusatama. Kutonya kurusatama. Kutonya kurusatama. Nayam lokostya yagyasya. Nayam lokostya yagyasya. Kutonya kurusatama. Kutonya kurusatama. Nayam lokostya yagyasya. 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 Kutonya kurusatama. Ladies? Nayam lokostya yagyasya. Kutonya kurusatama. Nayam lokostya yagyasya. Kutonya kurusatama. Actually, you can probably learn this verse. The reason Prabhupada asked the devotees to recite the verse was so that by constant repetition you would actually remember the verses. He used to say repetition is the mother of remembrance. So there's only 2 lines here, so you can try and see if you can learn this verse. Okay, we'll go through the word for word. Na, never. Ayam, this. Loka, planet. Asti, there is. Ayagyasya, for one who performs no sacrifice. Kuta, where is? Anya, the other. Kuru Sattama, O best among the Kurus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? Okay, please repeat. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? Purport. Whatever form of material existence one is invariably ignorant of his real situation. In other words, existence in the material world is due to the multiple reactions to our sinful lives. Ignorance is the cause of sinful life, and sinful life is the cause of one's dragging on in material existence. The human form of life is the only loophole by which one may get out of this entanglement. The Vedas, therefore, give us a chance for escape by pointing out the paths of religion, economic comfort, regulated sense gratification, and at last the means to get out of the miserable condition entirely. The path of religion, or the different kinds of sacrifice recommended above, automatically solves our economic problems. By performance of yajna, we can have enough food, enough milk, etc., even if there is a so-called increase of population. When the body is fully supplied, naturally the next stage is to satisfy the senses. The Vedas prescribe, therefore, sacred marriage for regulated sense gratification. Thereby one is gradually elevated to the platform of release from material bondage, and the highest perfection of liberated life is to associate with the Supreme Lord. Perfection is achieved by performance of yajna, sacrifice, as described above. Now, if a person is not inclined to perform yajna according to the Vedas, how can he expect a happy life, even in this body, and what to speak of another body on another planet? There are different grades of material comforts in different heavenly planets, and in all cases there is immense happiness for persons engaged in different kinds of yajna. But the highest kind of happiness that a man can achieve is to be promoted to the spiritual planets by practice of Krishna consciousness. What is the highest type of happiness a man can achieve?
Krishna Prema.
Well, we've just read it. I'll read it again and then I'll ask you again. I'm just testing if everyone's paying attention. But the highest kind of happiness that a man can achieve is to be promoted to the spiritual planets by practice of Krishna consciousness. What is the highest type of happiness a man can achieve? Yeah. Very good. Being promoted to the highest planets, spiritual planets, by the practice of Krishna consciousness. Vaisheshika does this actually when you hear him reading. I listen to his classes regularly, and he says something and then he asks them again to check that everyone's listening, because sometimes we listen and it goes in one ear and it comes out the other. So we have to be, first, before we become Krishna conscious, we have to become conscious. Okay, a life of Krishna consciousness is therefore the solution to all the problems of material existence. What is the solution to all problems of material existence?
Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, a life of Krishna consciousness. Is everyone convinced of that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, we'll just recite the Mangala Charan. If you have a Bhagavad Gita, you can turn to page 1 in the Bhagavad Gita and we'll recite the Mangala Charan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshoram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Vallabha Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vatamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnave Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hands up very loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ukam Kuroti Vachalam, Pangam Nangai Tegiram, Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande, Shri Gurum Tinataranam. Actually, we've mentioned it before, but I'll just mention it again. Srila Prabhupada said if you recite this Mangala Charan, these series of prayers that we just recited, before anything you do, it will be successful. So the idea is that really when we're chanting these Mangala Charan prayers, we're praying for the blessings of our spiritual master, we're praying for the blessings of the previous acharyas, the great saints, we're praying for the blessings of Lord Chaitanya and the members of the Panchatattva, and ultimately we're praying for the blessings of Radha and Krishna. Because nothing's successful without blessings. So therefore, we've recited the Mangala Charan, so hopefully everything will be successful now. Of course, another way of looking at it is that when we're making any endeavours in Krishna consciousness, it's not dependent upon the results. Krishna says that actually the real success is performing the endeavour. So even if you perform something in Krishna consciousness, but it's not completed or it doesn't turn out right, Krishna sees the endeavour which we make. Krishna is called Bhava Grahi Janardana, which means that he accepts the mood of devotion. Like materially speaking, if you don't finish something, like let's say you're building, a new building, a skyscraper building, but then you leave it unfinished, what good is it? It's not finished, it's no good. And at the best, maybe you'll get a few squatters moving or something like that. But in Krishna consciousness, if you make some endeavour, even if it isn't completed from a material perspective, then still you get the benefit of making the endeavour for Krishna. Anyway, so to today's verse, chapter 4, text 31. Nayam lokos yagyasya kutonya kurusatama. Does anyone think they could remember it? We'll ask you again at the end. Maybe even just the English translation. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? So as we said, this is the shortest verse in the Bhagavad Gita. But there's an expression, they say, sometimes less is more. Who's heard that expression before? Less is more. So, it can refer to many things, Perhaps, sometimes if you're putting on, for one thing, in a class, if you're trying to give a class, you shouldn't try to say too many things, because if you give too much information, then people can't really assimilate it. They say that generally people's attention span is 20 minutes, max. And then after 20 minutes, the mind starts to wander. So I'm going to look at everyone's face now. See whose mind's already starting to wander? I'll time it from now, 20 minutes. 4:30. So therefore I should try and finish my class in 20 minutes. We'll have a go. So less is more. Or Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says in the Caitanya Charitamrita that eloquence is truth spoken concisely. So in other words, just by saying a few words, you can say a lot. Like sometimes in some of Srila Prabhupada's purports, it's It's not a very long purport, but within that single purport, Prabhupada's given the entire process of Krishna consciousness, just in a short paragraph. So here, Krishna is giving the complete formula for happiness in one line. Isn't that amazing? He's giving the complete formula for happiness, not only in this life, but in the next life too. Like sometimes you go shopping and you look for the special offers, right? 2 for the price of 3. Sometimes, or another one is bog off. We're not being rude. That means buy 1, get 1 free. Bog off. So when you go shopping, sometimes you look for these bargains. And sometimes you don't even need the thing. You know, but because it's a bargain, you think, oh yeah, I should get this. My dad, he's like that. He'll go out and he'll buy a pair of trainers, even if he doesn't need a pair of trainers, but because it's reduced, therefore he thinks, okay, I'll get these. You know, it's a good deal. So what better deal can you have than this? Krishna is giving us the formula for happiness, not only in this life, but in the next life too. And in fact, eternity. For eternal happiness. So I'm going to ask for a show of hands now. Who here would like to be happy? Put your hands up. Okay, who would like to know the formula for happiness? Very good. Okay, let me ask another question. Who's going to apply the formula for happiness? Good. A few hands there. That's one thing, isn't it? Sometimes we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't do it. And that's why we need to hear. The more and more we hear, the more and more our consciousness becomes purified. Our self becomes purified, and then we can actually act as we're supposed to. So we have to constantly hear. In fact, as we heard on Friday night, we have to constantly, incessantly hear the Maha Mantra. Can anyone remember any of the synonyms for incessantly? We went through the dictionary definition. One of them I remember was round the clock. Okay? Without interruption. Continuously. Yeah, it was nice. Anyway, on Friday we were reading this verse, chapter 8, text 5, and in the purple Prabhupada says that we should constantly, incessantly chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we hear it, and it goes in one ear, and it comes out the other ear. But we have to keep on hearing again, and again, and again, and again. And eventually it will stick. We have to keep on hearing. So therefore, you're in the right place. Everyone put their hands up when we said, who wants to know the formula for happiness? Everyone said yes. So you're in the right place, because today that is the topic of today's talk. What is the formula for happiness and how to apply it? And hopefully some inspiration to actually apply it in our life also. So coming to the start of the purport, Prabhupada says, whatever form of material existence one is invariably ignorant of his real situation. So in other words, we're in this material world, we're in Newcastle, we've got a material body, some of us have got an older body, some of us have got a younger body, and in this material world everyone's got different types of body. There's 8.4 million different species of life. Someone give me a species of life.
Cat.
A cat. Okay, you have cat bodies. Bev. Horses. Yeah, right. Recently they've had royal ascots. Right, that's been on the news and things like that. Horses. What other species of life have we got? Trees. Yeah. What other species of life have we got? Dogs, pigs, cows. Yeah, there's 8.4 million different species of life. But when we reach this human form of life, actually it's a very rare opportunity. And we should utilize it for the correct purpose of life. So that's what we're going to be discussing. But the point is that whatever type of or form of life we're in, we're invariably ignorant of our real self because we identify with this body. And even if we're in a better situation, like some people have got a good situation, materially speaking, in this world. Some people were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. They live in a mansion, they've got no problems with wealth or anything like that. But it's described that the material world is like a prison house. It's called Durga Dham. So in the same way that sometimes when people are in the prison, if they've done some good behaviour, they get elevated a little bit. They get a cell to themselves, or they get 3 meals a day instead of 2, or they get a comfier bed, they get a television set in their room, but still are in the prison house. So whether it's good or whether it's bad, we're invariably ignorant of our real self. We think we're the body, we think we're English, we think we're humans, but we're not the body, we're the spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi. Now, why do we have a material body? Well, Krishna answers this in the chapter 15, text 8 and 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. You can turn to it now. Krishna explains how we get this material body. So this is page 722. So text 8, Krishna says, the living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. So, did you see, can you pick out there, why is it? What is it that means that one has to take birth after birth? What does Krishna say? What does Prabhupada say in the translation? That's Krishna's words. It says his different conceptions of life. Or in other words, our misconceptions. We've got different misconceptions. We were speaking yesterday about the different goals of life. Some people think the goal of life is to live fast, die young, eat, drink and be merry. Very rarely will people say the goal of life is self-realization. If you go and ask 100 people in the streets, how many people will say the goal of life is to become self-realized? Probably not very many. I don't think there's so many self-realized souls walking around Newcastle. Like we said, so in the Vedic society, they would greet one another. They would say, Ihishitam yat puna janma jayaya. For anyone who's here in the class on Friday, can anyone remember what that means?
How is the endeavor going on, the repeated birth and that, something along those lines?
Very good. Let's give Kamud a round of applause. See, she always takes notes in every class. So when you take notes, you remember. When you write something down, it helps you to remember. Yeah, so it means, is everything going well in your endeavour to conquer the repetition of birth and death? So next time you meet your friends, then that's how you have to greet them. Is everything going well in your endeavour to conquer the repetition of birth and death? Because they understood that this was the ultimate goal of life. So because we have different misconceptions about what life's all about, therefore we have to keep taking birth again in this material world, because we haven't understood the real purpose of life. And therefore in the next text, text 9, Krishna says, the living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, a certain type of eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. So, sometimes you look in the mirror. Who's ever looked in the mirror and kind of thought, oh, my nose is a bit wonky, or this ear's bigger than the other, or, I'm getting wrinkles, or I'm losing my hair, or sometimes you look at yourself and you think, oh, I wish I was a bit more muscly, or women look at themselves and think, I wish I was a bit slimmer, or whatever it is. But actually, we've got no one to blame but ourselves. That doesn't mean, we need to go to the gym or whatever. What it means is we've been given this particular body according to our karma, according to our misconceptions, according to our desires that we've cultivated in previous lifetimes. We get a particular type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch. You get what you deserve in that sense. That's our karma. Now, Prabhupada says in the purport that actually it is ignorance that causes us to engage in activities which are against our real self-interest. We're ignorant of who we are, and therefore we're ignorant of what really is going to satisfy us. Just like if you have a bird in a cage, and you spend all your time polishing the cage, and you forget to feed the bird, that's against the bird's self-interest. You've missed the whole point. So we've got a material body, You know, if we spend the whole time just looking after the body or polishing the cage, but we forget to feed the bird, we forget to feed the soul, we've missed the whole point. And we're going to be completely satisfied, and it's because of ignorance that we do this. So like an example would be like, for instance, if you go to a country that drives on the right-hand side of the road, someone name a country that drives on the right-hand side of the road. France. So if you go to France, and in fact that's a good analogy actually, because you can drive to France now. You drive onto the, the Channel Tunnel, right? And you get on the train and you drive through, and then you get out in your same car, and then you start driving on the road. So what will happen if you drive on the left-hand side of the road in France?
You get challenged by the law.
You get challenged by the law. What else might happen? You might have an accident. What were you saying? An accident, yeah. So at the best, you might just get like a fine by the police. But at the worst, you might die. You might severely injure yourself. So this is the point, that out of ignorance, it can cause us great suffering. So there are laws of material nature. There are laws of this universe. How to live, how to act, how to speak, how to walk, how to do anything, how to cook. And if we act according to the law, then we can live a happy life in this life. But if we're ignorant, then we may be punished. We may have to suffer. Now you might think, why would Krishna punish us? Why would Krishna make us suffer? What do they call that? If someone likes to see others suffering, what's that called? Is that a sadist? A sadist. You know, if someone likes to see others suffering, is Krishna a sadist? He gives us laws, and if we're ignorant of the laws, then we have to suffer. But what is the purpose of punishment, really? What is the real purpose of punishment, Bev?
It's to rectify the behaviour.
Very good.
To correct, to move in the right direction.
Very good. So Bev said there, it is to rectify the behaviour, to make sure that we're going in the right direction. Who here has got children? Put your hands up. Actually, I don't have children. Put my hands up here. Have you ever had to punish your child? Your daughter's sitting next to you. Do you remember being punished sometimes, Supriya? Did you like it at the time?
No.
But do you appreciate why your mum punished you now?
Yeah.
Yeah. She said that reluctantly. No, of course, actually, and sometimes even the parent will say to the child, it's for your own good. This is for your own good. You may not like it, but it's for your own good. Like sometimes you'll say, okay, because you've been naughty, now you don't get to go to the party later on. No, I want to go to the party. Well, it's your own fault, and it's for your own good. Because you'll remember next time not to be naughty because you want to go to the party. So when we suffer in this material world, it's actually for our rectification. When we get punished by the laws of karma, you could look at it in a bad way, that, this is painful, but you could say that, like they have that expression, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So we should learn from our mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but we should learn from our mistakes. Therefore, there's the pillar. Prabhupada quoted the proverb that failure is the stepping stone of success, or failure is the pillar of success. So therefore, the point we're making is ignorance of our real self, ignorance of our self-interest that causes us to suffer. But the good news is, Prabhupada says in the pulpit, that the human form of life is the only loophole by which one can get out of this entanglement. So thankfully, we're all in the human form of life. I think, looking around, it's hard to tell sometimes. Sometimes when we get up in the morning and we look in the mirror, we don't look our best, do we? So anyway, the point is, the human life gives us a chance to become free from this entanglement. And the human form of life is the only chance to become free. So, why is that? Why is the human life the only chance, the only loophole to get out of this entanglement? I'm asking you a question now, that's not a rhetorical question. Ekachandra.
Because we actually have free will, while other species of life it's just being ordained by the laws of nature.
Uh-huh.
So there comes responsibility in the human form of life. You have limited free will.
Very good. So if you didn't hear him, Eka said there that it's been ordained. We have free will, that we can act, we can choose to act as we like, but for other species of life it's ordained. It's been ordained by the laws of material nature. Like we have this expression, animal instincts. The other day I was watching a documentary. It was called Animal Fight Club. Has anyone ever seen that before? Animal Fight Club. Anyway, so it was showing these big wild cats in Africa, and they were preying on other species of life. You know, there was one cat. It was like a mountain lion, and it was preying on this mountain goat. And that's just animal instinct. You know, if we went on the street and we started pouncing on someone with a knife or something like that, we'd be locked up. You know, because we know what is right and what is wrong. So for the mountain lion, that is correct. But we have a higher type of intelligence, and therefore, as Eka said, it gives us a higher level of responsibility. So human life is responsible life, and we have to act responsibly. Otherwise, that human form of life gets taken away from us. Okay, if you want to act like an animal, sometimes you see on Friday night, Saturday night, packs of men, like dogs. I remember one time on New Year's Eve I was doing book distribution. Christmas Eve I was doing book distribution and collection around the pubs in Castleford, in Yorkshire. And I was going around with one of the devotees, Sharanga Thakur. And it got to the end of the night, it was after midnight, and then there was a massive brawl in the middle of the streets. We were like approaching people trying to sell them books, and then, you know, literally about 20 or 30 men just started brawling with each other. They were like a pack of dogs. It was really scary, actually. We just kind of got out of there as quick as we could. We didn't want to get caught up. So they're acting like dogs. So in their next life, okay, if you want to behave like a dog in your next life, here's the body of a dog. Then you can, you know, that's the consciousness you've cultivated. But human life is meant for something more. Human life is meant to understand our deeper spiritual nature. And therefore the only reason, or the reason that the human form of life is the only loophole, is because human life is the only life where you can accrue karma. According to the way you act in this lifetime, you receive karma. Good karma or bad karma. But in other species of life, like we mentioned, pigs, horses, cows, they can't create karma. They're just burning off karma that they created when they were in the human form of life. But human life is a chance to become free from this cycle of birth and death once and for all. So the Vedas, the Shastra, the books of knowledge that are originating from Krishna himself, they give us this chance to become free or to escape from the material world. Veda, like we said, means knowledge. So like we said earlier, that what is the cause of our suffering? It is ignorance. When we're ignorant of the law, we break the law and therefore we suffer. So on the other hand, if you have knowledge, if you know that you're supposed to drive on the right-hand side of the road when you get to France, you don't suffer. So therefore knowledge is the key to our becoming disentangled from this material world. And ignorance is what binds us to the material world. Therefore in Sanskrit they say tamasima jyotir gama. Do not remain in the darkness, go to the light. The darkness of ignorance. So therefore the Vedas and Bhagavad Gita, they're giving us knowledge of how to live happily in this world. But not only how to live happily in this world, but how to get out of this world. Like we said, the material world is like a prison house, it's Durgadam. Okay, you can live happily in prison if you behave nicely. You know, you can get a television, you can get a PlayStation, you can get, 3 nice meals a day, but the goal isn't to stay in prison. You can stay in this world, you can live nicely, but the real goal is to reform our character so that we can go back to the spiritual world, to go back to our real home, to go back home, back to Godhead. So what is that knowledge and how to become happy? We're coming back now to this question that we asked at the beginning. Who would like to be happy? So how do we become happy? Did anyone catch it? How do we become happy? In the verse and the purport, Krishna explains how to become happy. Did anyone catch it?
Perform yajna.
To perform yajna. And what does yajna mean?
For us, in this means chanting the holy names.
Sacrifice. Yeah, we'll come on to that in a minute. It means sacrifice. So what does the word sacrifice mean? You know, it can conjure up different things. For me, sometimes you say sacrifice, I think of like some indigenous tribal people in the, you know, in some jungle or somewhere, like, you know, performing human sacrifice. Is that what it means? Well, actually, what does the word sacrifice itself mean? Let's have a few examples or some suggestions. What does it mean? What do we think of when we think of sacrifice?
Give up something, Prabhu.
To give something up, Kamud said. Very good. Let's put our hands up. What does sacrifice mean? Ramai.
The word sacrifice is like in French, sacré means something like
Sacra means sacred, doesn't it?
sacred.
Mm-hmm.
So you give up something for something sacred.
Ah, okay, so that's nice. We give up something to attain something sacred.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so it means giving up to attain something sacred. Jagannath Street at the back there.
Give up something that we like to do or something that's meaningful to us.
Ah.
To do something else that is more important.
That's an interesting thing. Giving up something which we like to do. It's easy to give up something that you don't like, isn't it? Like, let's say someone gives you a gift, you know? Or like, you know, and then you give it to someone else, you know? And the reason you've given it to them is because you don't like it yourself. You just want to get rid of it. If you knew that someone had given you something like that, would you be inspired? Or would you be inspired that this is my favourite jumper and I'm giving it to you? That's more inspiring, isn't it? So that's a nice point. Giving up something that we like. Mataji.
I was just thinking, not thinking of yourself and thinking of other people.
Ah, that's a nice way of looking at it. So being selfless. Sacrifice means not thinking of ourselves, but thinking of others. Sacrificing for others. Good. Any other thoughts upon sacrifice? Okay. So I'll give you the dictionary definition. There's quite a few actually, but this was one that I thought was appropriate. And it's pretty much containing all the different things that you said. So sacrifice is an act of giving up something which is valued. That was like the point that Jagannath Eshu is making. Giving up something which is valuable or something which is worthwhile for the sake of something else which is regarded as more important or worthy. So again, the idea of something sacrificed. Giving up something which is good for the sake of something more important or for the sake of others. I was thinking of like how parents sacrifice their time, they sacrifice their energy, they sacrifice their money. The statistics are that it costs £100,000 to raise a child from birth to the age of 18. £100,000. When I heard that, that put me off having children. I thought, no, let's forget about having children. My wife's over there. I'm only joking, don't worry. We will have children. But, you know, £100,000. So you might think, well, I could forget about that, have more time, you know, I could buy myself a nice house, a nice car, I could live a great life. But no, parents, they sacrifice their time, they sacrifice their energy, they sacrifice their money for something better, to help, you know, to bring up a child. And then you feel great satisfaction when you see your child progressing and their first steps in life, their first words. Then you see them at their first day at school. We'll see some of the mothers starting to shed some tears now. And then, you know, then when they've graduated from university, they've got their first car, they've got their first job, they've bought their first house. When they have children, so you become a grandparent, that's a proud day, isn't it, for a mother and a father? Then what to speak if you see in India, they have an expression that something along the lines of the grandchild's grandchild. If you can see the grandchild's grandchild, that's considered perfection, you know, because, you know, it means you've been around a long time, you've seen your grandchildren, they've then had children, and then they have their grandchildren. Something along those lines. I heard that one time. Maybe not in all parts of India, but someone was saying something along those lines. So anyway, the point is that we have to do a big sacrifice. So yajna, the process of yajna means sacrificing to please the Supreme, to please Krishna. But what do we give up? What are we giving up to please Krishna? Because in one sense, nothing really belongs to us. If I say, here you go, Krishna, take this. Well, it already belongs to Krishna anyway. In Krishna consciousness, we understand niyamama. Nothing is mine. Everything belongs to Krishna. So what is the point? Well, last Sunday, what day was it last Sunday?
Sunday.
It was Sunday. Okay, what day was it last Sunday? It was Father's Day. Do we have any fathers in the room? Put your hands up if you're a father. Did anyone receive anything from their children on Father's Day? Okay, what did you receive?
I see a bag of socks.
A bag of socks. Yeah, that's the usual present for a dad, isn't it? What can we get Dad? You either get him, you get him like a jumper or some socks. So Ramai got some socks. Was that from Vashil?
I was in London at that time.
Uh-huh.
Disney and Russia.
Oh, that's nice. So you got them, and they're not even your children. Did you get anything from your children? Jagannath Eshu, you didn't buy anything for your father.
I gave him my heart.
Oh, hear that. She gave him her heart. What did you receive for Father's Day?
I got greetings.
You got greetings.
And we pray for the God 21 Ganpati Shishya, entire family.
So you got some blessings and some greetings. I sent my dad a Father's Day card and I gave him a ring. Not a ring, I rang him up. So so like this, last Sunday was Father's Day. So when you have a young child, and then the child, he doesn't have any money. If he gets any money, where does he get the money from in the first place? Gets it from the dad or the mum, right? Gets it from the dad, pocket money. So the young boy goes up to his dad and he says, Daddy, can I have some money, please? So then the dad gives the young boy some money. And what does he do with that money? He goes and buys him a pair of socks. And he gives the socks to his dad. And what does the dad say? Right, the dad's got hundreds of pairs of socks. Every time it's birthday or Christmas or Father's Day, he gets loads of socks. He doesn't need any more socks. The last thing he wants is a pair of socks. Right? And it was his money that bought the socks. So what does he say to the young son? Does he say, get out of here and take your stinking socks with you? Buy me something useful next time, Buy me an iPad and use your own money. Go out and get a job. Use your own money and buy me something, You've taken my money and you bought me some socks. I don't need them. What? Does the father say that? No. He says, thank you so much, for the tear in his eye. His heart is melted. Why? Because it's been given with love. The dad doesn't need the socks. It was his money anyway. So in the same way, everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna doesn't need anything from us. But if we offer everything back to Krishna, if we offer everything back to God with love and devotion, then that melts Krishna's heart. Then Krishna is very, very pleased. So therefore the process of yajna, really, it is a way of just showing our gratitude, a way of saying thank you to Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. You've given me everything. You provided me air to breathe, water to drink, you're providing the sun, you're providing food, clothes on my back, you're providing everything for me. So it's just a way of saying thank you. Because if someone gives you a gift and you don't say thank you, did you say thank you, Ramai, when you got your socks?
Oh, yes.
Of course. Yeah, but if you hadn't said thank you, Varsha and Vrishni might have thought, I'm not going to bother buying him anything next year, ungrateful so-and-so. When you're young, the parents, they say to the child, if they get a gift, they say, what do you say? Have you done that before, Kamud? What do you say? You say, thank you. And then sometimes you say, thank you. And you say, no, say it like you mean it. Thank you. That's better. So in the same way, when we're saying thank you to Krishna by this process of yajna, firstly we should acknowledge Krishna. It's good that we're acknowledging him, but we should say it like we mean it. Not just that we just thanks Krishna, like in a formal way. We say it from the heart. So when we're chanting Hare Krishna, it's not just Hare Krishna, 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 like robotic. It's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada says like a child calling for its mother. So we say thank you. So this is the process of yajna. Now how does the process of yajna work? In the purport, Prabhupada said that there are 4 goals of life. He doesn't say that, but he alludes to the 4 goals of life. We discussed this on Friday actually. Does anyone remember what are the 4 goals of life according to the Vedic understanding? It begins with a T.
Dharma.
Dharma, yeah. Dharma, Artha, Karma and Moksha. These are the 4 goals of life. Dharma means religiosity. One should lead a religious life. Artha means economic development. One has sufficient wealth and like this, you know. Karma means sense gratification, to enjoy the senses. And then moksha means liberation. So the understanding, according to the Vedic system, is that if one is religious, if one leads a religious life, one will be well situated economically. That is the understanding. Now you may say, well, I know some people who are atheists, and they're very well situated. You know, some people who are very, very wealthy and very, very rich, economically prosperous, they're very, very wealthy. But actually what that means is that in a previous lifetime they were living a pious life. They're actually getting the results of their previous lifetime. Because if you think about it, food isn't made in shops, is it? You know, if you've got loads of money, right, you know, you can go down to the supermarket and you can buy all the food, but where does that food actually come from? It's grown in the ground, isn't it? That means that someone had to supply the sun, someone had to supply the rain, someone had to supply, you know, like natural fertilizers, like cow dung or something. Someone had to supply the minerals and, you know, and everything within the earth. That's how food's actually made. It's made by, you know, farmers cultivating the land. But ultimately, even if you have a farmer, if there's no sun, or if there's too much sun, there's not enough rain, you get no harvest. So who is supplying those things? That is the demigods. You know, Surya Dev, he's supplying the sun. Indra Dev, he is supplying the rain. So the demigods, they are supplying all these things on the order of Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita, it says that actually the demigods, they're supplying the wind, the rain, the sun, out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So everything ultimately is coming from Krishna. So therefore, we understand that by performing this process of yajna, all the different goals of life will be achieved. If you perform this yajna to please the Supreme, then you'll have economic sense, you know, you'll be economically well situated. Then you'll be able to sufficiently enjoy your senses, and then eventually you'll want to become liberated. But Prabhupada says in this purport that the supreme liberation, the perfection of yajna, is to satisfy Krishna. And like Prabhupada says, how can one expect to be happy otherwise? Like we said, if you don't say thank you when you receive a gift, you know, you may not get the gift next year. So how can you expect to be happy in this life if you don't show gratitude and you don't say thank you to the Supreme, if you don't engage in this process of yajna? Now there's different types of yajna. We're going to try and bring this class to the conclusion now. We've actually gone over the 20 minutes attention span. We've already gone 12 minutes over the... Is everyone still with me? Yeah. Give me a nod. Say Hare Krishna if you're still with me.
Hare Krishna.
Let's have it more enthusiastically.
Hare
Krishna. Okay, everyone's still with us, good. So I'll try and bring it to a conclusion. So there's different ways to engage in this process of yajna. According to the Vedic understanding, there was 4 different ages that the universe goes through. Just like we have the 4 different seasons, we have spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Or in England, we just have a perpetual kind of, well, all seasons in one day you get in England, actually. There's no such thing as seasons. But everywhere else, you have spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So the universe goes through these different ages. So what is the first age? Satya Yuga. What is the next age? Treta Yuga. The third age? Dwapara Yuga. And the fourth age that we're currently living in is Kali Yuga. Yeah. So this age is the winter age. And therefore it's described that, in this age, things are really degraded, People are lazy, misguided, quarrelsome, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. That's what it says in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the winter age. So therefore there was different processes of yoga for each age. So in Satya Yuga, the process of yoga, does anyone know what was the process of yoga? Meditation, mystic meditation. But actually people would live for vast aeons of time. Like in this age of Kali, the maximum age you can live pretty much is 100 years. And if you live 100 years, you're doing pretty good. In this country, you get a telegram from the Queen. Not many people, actually the average life expectancy, like for a man, is more like something like 67 or something like that. Interestingly, the retirement age is about that as well. So you retire, and then that's it. You plop your cogs. You pop your clogs. So if you live for 100 years, you're doing pretty good. But in previous ages, people used to live for a lot longer. Like if you read in the Bible, it spoke about Delilah and Samson. And it said that they lived for hundreds of years, like 700 years or something like that. So in Satya Yuga, people lived for 100,000 years. And it's described that people engaged in this mystic meditation to satisfy the Supreme for 60,000 years. Can you imagine? I find it hard trying to sit down and chant one round, which takes about 7 or 8 minutes without getting a bit fidgety, Or to speak of 60,000 years, but people were of a higher caliber. They were more in the mode of goodness. But then in the next age, people couldn't do that type of yoga. People didn't have the patience. So therefore in Treta Yuga, the process of yoga was, anyone know? That was the next stage. Something before temple worship. Fire sacrifice. Agnihotra yoga. They would perform the fire sacrifice. And they would offer so many things to the fire, like tons and tons of ghee, of grains, of butter, of yogurt, different foodstuffs, and all the paraphernalia was made from solid gold. Nowadays, what is everything made from? Plastic, yeah. It's just petrol, some remnants of petrol. And what's that? That's made from dead bodies and things, like crude oil and things that dead bodies that are, so if you think about it, when we're cooking from plastic, or we're using things like that, it's not really, but in that age, people, they were so opulent, that people were wealthy, they could offer vast amounts of wealth, and when they finished the sacrifice, all gold utensils, they would throw them away. They wouldn't use them again for another yajna. Because they had this, so in this age, who's got that type of wealth? So we cannot engage in that type of sacrifice in this age. In the next age, in Treta Yuga, what was the process of yajna? Kamut said it already. Deity worship, temple worship. People will build grand buildings, grand temples. Even hundreds of years ago, people used to build grand cathedrals. You go to some of these great Gothic cathedrals built 1,000 years ago, they're magnificent. If people build a religious building nowadays, what do they build? It's not like they don't spend years building it, do they? Generally, if people want to build a building nowadays, it's stainless steel and glass. People haven't got the time, they haven't got the patience, they haven't got the inclination, they haven't got the money even.
Sometimes flammable material.
And sometimes flammable material. Yes, actually my wife was making that point on the way here. So just see, because we want to build a building as quick as possible, without really thinking what it's going to look like or what's the consequences, like we see, Grenfell Tower, it went up within a matter of, minutes. So in this day and age, people, they don't build grand buildings. We don't worship the deity on a grand scale. Of course, we do still worship the deity, but that's more for our own purification of heart. But the point is, that's not the main process of yajna. So in Kali Yuga, in this age that we're living in, what is the main worship, the main type of yajna that we're supposed to engage in? Harinam Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And what do you need? What do you have to have in order to perform this yogya?
Breath.
You need your breath, you need a tongue, and you need your voice. So essentially you just need a tongue and you need your ears. That's all you need. It doesn't cost you anything to engage in this type of yogya. But you get the same benefit that you would from performing 60,000 years worth of meditation in Satya Yuga, the same benefit that you get from performing fire sacrifice and treta yoga and temple worship and dwarka yoga. In fact, in this day and age, by performing the Sankirtan yoga, actually the result is even better, because one can go back to Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost planet in the spiritual world, to engage in serving Radha and Krishna for eternity. So this process is so easy. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it says, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangastrapashinam Yogya Sankirtana Priya Yujanti Hi Samedishaha. It says that in this age of Kali, intelligent persons, Prabhupada describes it as persons with sufficient brain substance. That's like a politically correct way of saying it. You know, like you don't say someone's small, you say they're vertically challenged. You know, you don't say someone's fat, you say they're horizontally challenged. You don't say someone is stupid, you say they do not have sufficient brain substance. You know, the Prabhupada says, if one has sufficient brain substance, they perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. That is Lord Chaitanya. Although he is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goratvize Namaha. That Krishna has appeared in this age 500 years ago as an incarnation, not an incarnation of Krishna, but as a devotee of Krishna, to show us how best to worship Krishna in this age. And it is the Sankirtan Yoga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the process is so simple, it is so easy, it doesn't cost anything, but by engaging in this Sankirtan Yoga, like Prabhupada said, a life of Krishna consciousness is the solution to all problems. So whatever problems you've got going on in your life, if you just engage in this Sankirtan Yoga, all problems will vanish. And that doesn't mean that, you know, if you start chanting Hare Krishna, suddenly you're going to be really wealthy and you're going to be able to pay the bills and, you know, everything's going to start coming to you. What it means is you can put an end to all solutions, because at the end of this life, one will go back home, back to Godhead, where life is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. One doesn't have to come back again to this material world. So therefore, as Krishna says, one can live happily in this life and in the next. One will never come back again to this material world. So therefore, the next time, if you're thinking you're unhappy, or if you're thinking, I wish I was happy, or if you're thinking, I wish I was more happy, it means that we just need to constantly, incessantly chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Sankirtan Yogya ki, Nitai Guru Pramananda. So we're going to ask firstly if there are any reflections, which means anything that you've heard in the class which particularly stuck in your mind that you're going to take home with you, that you're going to remember, something that you found inspiring. Does anyone have any reflections? Beth?
Just that the human life's the only loophole, because sometimes I think you take it for granted that
Yes.
in your next life you're going to come back as a human, and it's not necessarily so. It could take millions and millions of
Yes.
years before
Yeah.
you get the opportunity to come back as a human.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So yeah, Bev saying that, we'll just repeat it for those who are listening online. The point that stuck out was that human form of life isn't the only loophole to become free from the material entanglement, and we take it for granted that we have the human form of life, and we think, well, okay, in my next lifetime, I'll take birth as a human again. But we don't know. We don't know what we're going to take birth in our next life. Maharaj Bharat, the story is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he was a great king, but he renounced the world at age 24. He went to the forest and he was on the level of Baba. He was so spiritually advanced that somehow or another, by circumstance, he became attached to a deer. He saw this deer, a mother deer, and she jumped over. She was being chased by like a wild cat. And we're talking about Animal Fight Club. And therefore the mother miscarried and she gave birth to the deer. The mother died, and then the deer started floating down the river. So Maharaj Bharat, he saved that deer, and he started to take care and nurture that deer, and he became so attached to the deer that at the time of death, he thought of the deer. And then his next life, he took birth as a deer. So it's a good point. We don't know that we're going to have a human form of life in our next body. We shouldn't think, okay, I'll perfect my human form of life in the next life. What's that called? Putting off something which we can do today to do it tomorrow. What's that called? Procrastination. But tomorrow never comes. It never comes. Like we said on Friday, diet starts on Monday. But actually, I'll just let you into a little secret. I went for a swim this morning, actually. I was saying that, I was thinking I need to start doing some exercise. So this morning I did actually go for a swim and I felt so much better for it. But yeah, we just procrastinate. We think, well, I'll do it later. So thanks for sharing that reflection, Bev. We should utilise the human form of life. Don't waste it. Take advantage. Any other reflections? Remind Prabhu.
Just like the animals, like cows, they are burning their karma. But we in the human form of life, we are either committing more or bad or good. So that's
very good. Yeah, the human form of life, we're accruing karma. So we should be careful. Either we're creating a very bright future for ourselves, or we're creating a very dark future for ourselves. And they say that your thoughts become your actions. No, your thoughts become your deeds. Your deeds become your actions. Your action creates your character. And your character creates your destiny. So it starts with the mind, actually. That's it. Your thoughts become your deeds. Your deeds create your character. Your character creates your destiny.
No, this creates the action.
Sorry, your character creates your actions.
And action creates the habits, and habits the character.
That's it. So let's try it again. Okay. So your thoughts become your deeds. Your deeds create your actions. Or actions and deeds are the same thing, are they not? Your thoughts create your words. Words create your actions. Your actions create your habits. Your habits create your character, and your character creates your destiny. Okay, we got there in the end. Thanks very much, Drew. So we should be very careful. So don't let the mind wander. Bring it back to the sound vibration. Hare Krishna. Thanks for sharing. Any other reflections?
Prabhu, you said if you don't do things according to laws of nature, then Krishna will punish us to rectify and for us to go back onto the right path.
Ah, that's nice. Yeah, because sometimes we think, why am I suffering? Why is Krishna making us suffer? But if we remember that Krishna is punishing us to rectify us, so that we can actually be happy. Like we said, the mother says to the child, this is for your own good. So Krishna is saying, this is for your own good. Good. Any other reflections?
How easy it is to worship.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, carry on, sorry.
We only need our voice and breath, and we don't need a temple.
Yes. Wonderful. Yeah, how easy it is to worship Krishna in this age. All we need is a tongue and 2 ears. It doesn't cost anything. You don't even need instruments, you can just clap your hands. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very nice, thank you, that's a nice reflection. Any other reflections? Okay, let's see if there's any questions. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, so if there's no questions, that means everyone's thoroughly convinced, and it means everyone is going to engage constantly and incessantly in the Sankirtan Yoga. So on that note, we're now going to engage in the Sankirtan Yoga. We're going to have Aarti for the deities, and we're going to chant Hare Krishna. I think we'll probably sing the Gora Aarti song, and then we'll sing Hare Krishna. So we'd like to thank all of you for your attention. That was certainly over 20 minutes. That was 50 minutes. So thank you for your kind attention, for all of your contributions and your comments. And we'll continue with the next part of the program. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhagavad Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki, Shri Shri Panchatattva ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki.